From a Lego brick you could only find in a single store, to a Lego minifigure that is so rare most people argue whether it's even real. These are Lego items you will never own. And let's start off with the Lego Technic set that was sold at a loss for Lego. This is the fiber optic multi-set, an awesome looking helicopter race car build that should have been a huge success, right? Well, it was. The problem with this product is the fiber optic part. The fiber optics are these little see-through plastic tubes that can be found all around the build. And these actually cost more for Lego to manufacture than this set even sold for, meaning that this set was always selling at a loss. When talking about failed Lego products, a product that actively loses them money cannot be avoided. And this set came out in 1996 as Lego was rapidly losing money. However, while this Lego set may have been a financial loss for Lego while also being a business success, our next set shows that Lego has made some horrendous business failures. This is the Znap line of Lego products. Back in the early 90s, Connects was popping off. Connects were little pieces of plastic that would snap together and could be made into any shape. They were super popular in North America, and so Lego decided that they wanted a piece of that pie. Unfortunately, this was not the case. Lego Znap was never able to compete with Connects, despite Lego planning to overtake them in the market, and not only was this a competitive loss for Lego, it was also a huge financial loss, as these sets contained motors that were from an unprofitable Lego Technic set. Sheesh, talk about losing a war on two fronts. Lego does not always appeal their sets towards boys, as sometimes they will also try to appeal to young girls too. Such is the case in our next product. Lego Friends is an extremely popular Lego set for young girls that have been dominating the market now for some time. However, this was not the first time Lego has tried to target their products towards young girls, since they actually tried this back in the late 70s and then again in the late 1990s. This is Lego Scala, a Barbie themed set that Lego released to try and take on Hasbro and the Barbie scene. Unfortunately for Lego, their Scala line of products never did very well, so Lego did the logical thing and benched it, only to try and bring it back when the company was losing money, with this series of sets contributing to the huge financial losses Lego faced in the early 2000s. I mean, at this point, Lego's losing tons of money. Almost like how we're losing you not subscribing right now. Psst, this is the part where you subscribe. But all of these products came out at a time when Lego were in financial distress. What about a product that came out during some of Lego's dominant years? This is Lego Video, a Lego app that came out only in 2021. Basically, Lego Video wanted a piece of the TikTok pie and created a website where you could build Lego sets and post music videos of your builds. Now, obviously this did not take off since it didn't really have a target audience. It was far too immature for older audiences and a bit too complicated for younger audiences, especially with how accessible TikTok is, and as such, the series of toys shut down after just a year. And if only Lego had learned from this next business failure, as Lego Video may have never happened. Lego video games are super popular, with some of the most iconic games being Lego Star Wars, Harry Potter, and wait a minute, Lego The Incredibles. Okay, who signed off on this? However, Lego games were never meant to be as good as the Lego Star Wars games. Before the release of Lego Star Wars, Lego had some truly horrendous video games, and at a time when video game sales were at an all-time low, games like Lego Alpha Team, Lego My Style, Lego Rock Raiders, and more all lined up the shelves of stores and were critically a disaster. Lego decided to give video games one last go, and thankfully, Lego Star Wars had huge success. Although, the Lego games brand was dropped entirely in favor of all IP-based games. And much like everything else in the 90s, Lego wanted to try and keep up with some of their competitors. However, this next failure proves that they just could not do it. During the late 90s and early 2000s, magazines based on toys were actually very common. Magazines like Coral for Nintendo, PC Gamer for, well, PC gamers, and of course Lego. Lego's Brickmaster magazine was hugely popular and came with things like exclusive sets, news, releases, and more. However, by 2011, Lego wanted to switch up the game as they replaced Brickmaster with Lego Master Builder Academy. The NBA magazine was intended to teach Lego fans how to do certain building techniques and tricks by sending an exclusive set out with these more advanced building techniques, and it was super popular. Then why did it fail, you may be asking? Well, Lego building really is not that complicated, and the designers were running out of things to include within the magazine. This meant that after 2 years, the magazine was discontinued. Let me get a rip in the chat for NBA and Brickmaster. There are some Lego sets that can somehow be both iconic and yet the biggest failure the company ever embarked on. And when you think of this, one Lego venture comes to mind. Bionicles. Bionicles were complicated large robot-style Lego builds that were intended to be more like an action figure to kids during early 2000s. However, Lego decided to randomly end Bionicle in 2010, and this was the biggest failure Lego could have ever done, since they instantly regretted the decision after failing to reboot Bionicle not only once, but twice. First, Bionicle Hero Factory came out in 2014 and flopped, and then in 2015, Bionicle G2 came out, accompanied by a Netflix series, and all of this flopped. Not only was it a financial disaster, but it also ruined Bionicles for a lot of fan base who grew up on them. Bionicles are not the only action figures Lego have tried and failed with in its past. As we move into our next Lego failed product, Lego has manufactured toys in the past, particularly during the 50s and 60s. However, the majority of their company resources have gone into producing Lego for the past 50 years. So imagine the surprise of fans when in 2002, Lego randomly released the Galador set. Galador was introduced in 2002 alongside the Galador Defenders of the Outer Dimension TV show. Production for the show was partially funded by Lego, as well as them releasing some Lego sets to go along with the show. The problem was the Lego looked like this. This is honestly gross to look at. However, one good thing did come out of Galador, as these toys actually would become Bionicles as well as the Galador set of toys. Back in 2014, augmented reality was the new thing. You had games in the pipeline that really utilized augmented reality to the max, and when Lego announced they would be creating a mobile app that only enhanced the builds you could get, everyone was super excited. Lego Fusion was released in August 2014. And along with it came 4 different sets that you can mess with in AR. The Townmaster, Battle Towers, Create and Race, and the Resort Designer. And they were hugely popular, which is why Lego's decision to discontinue them less than a year later was a true shock, making this a huge failure for the company. Our next failure comes from a set that Lego never even released. In 2022, Lego were stepping up their partnership and licensing programs to partner up with countless different companies. But one of these companies would prove to have a financially and morally devastating year in 2022. If you remember anything about this year, you will know that in 2022 was the year Blizzard fell apart, and along with it, Lego's deal to produce Overwatch-themed Lego sets, such as the Titan set, a set that basically showed Overwatch characters Mai and Tracer taking on a giant mech straight from the video game. This could have been a huge financial gain for Lego, but unfortunately the product falls onto the shelf of failed Lego products. However, this next Lego product was released, it just didn't release enough. Some Lego minifigures are a stupid amount of money nowadays. I mean, stupid. And when Lego decided to introduce their minifigure surprise bags, people were bound to go crazy. However, I did not think Lego ever expected that to happen to their minifigure Mr. Gold. In the first release of the Lego minifigure surprise bags, Mr. Gold was only placed in about 5,000 of these bags. This made him super rare, and as such, the valuation for this golden gentleman skyrocketed. The problem with this is it caused an underground market of Lego manufacturers making and reselling more Mr. Gold figures. Basically, they're selling fake ones, causing the stock of Mr. Gold to skyrocket and leaving a huge dent on the character that eventually caused Lego to remove Mr. Gold entirely. And if only Lego had been quite as proactive with this next crazy failure. Lego also had countless partnerships throughout their long history, and perhaps their biggest partner has been the oil company Shell. Appearing on sets as early as the 1950s, Lego and Shell had a truly powerful alliance. That is until Greenpeace decided they had enough with them, releasing a hugely well-known parody of Everything is Awesome using Lego products covered in oil. Lego tried to pin all the blame onto Shell, but ultimately had to terminate the relationship with the oil company to avoid public backlash. I am about to tell you a huge secret about Lego. They recycle parts from older sets into new ones, and generally people have no idea. That is of course the exception for this Lego Eternals Aerial Assault set, which receives huge backlash for the minifigures included. Firstly, this set did not include any characters for the largely unsuccessful movie, and instead had 2 horrendous minifigures, as well as a small mech thing. The worst part about this is the minifigures themselves, with the male minifigure having the recycled head of Han Solo and Hawkeye, and then the female minifigure having the same head as Hermione Granger with Captain America's hair. These were meant to resemble characters from the Eternals movie, but people could not look past it. Lego has had countless horrendous sets throughout its history. However, this next set is arguably the worst Lego set ever. This is the Jackstone Super Glider. The Jackstone series was a small theme that Nintendo did, very briefly, that included some of the worst first Lego builds ever. However, the Super Glider takes the cake, since this apparently super set only came with 6 pieces. That's not very super. Some people even go as far as calling this false advertising, since the glider part doesn't even glide, instead falling like a Lego Titanic in the Atlantic. LEGO has rinsed Star Wars dry throughout its almost 30-year partnership. However, this next LEGO set may be considered the worst failed LEGO Star Wars set ever made. This is Technic C-3PO, a LEGO Technic release of the beloved Star Wars character. First of all, the character does not even move around correctly, making any playing with this figure impossible. And then on top of that, the droid has countless issues, with the limbs falling off, faulty speakers, and then of course, the low playability. This was what made our love C-3PO come C-3P no. This next LEGO set sold so badly as a result of a stupid marketing failure by LEGO. LEGO Harry Potter is immensely popular and for very good reason. So while looking for the biggest failures for LEGO, I stumbled across Harry Potter Agrog in the Dark Forest, but this set looks harmless enough. Why did it fail? Well, it's the complete opposite to Agrog in the movie, firstly, and secondly, it features this giant spider. Agrog in the Harry Potter movies is relatively friendly, however this set makes it look like the opposite to Harry. However, the size and shape of this caused kids nightmares, and they were completely terrified of this set. Potentially one of the smallest LEGO stores in the world, the LEGO store Dublin is not quite as popular with LEGO fans as the new ones in New York and other large cities throughout the world. However, when this store first opened, it came with a truly unique LEGO piece for only 24 hours. This is the I Heart LEGO Store Dublin 2x4 tile, a weird but somehow charming piece that you could only get right as the LEGO store opened in 2022. The problem with this is that Ireland still had some COVID restrictions in 2022, and as such, not everyone was able to get their hands on this LEGO piece. And the piece is only 2 years old, so imagine how much harder this next LEGO item is to find, as it was released almost 40 years ago. This is the 14 karat solid gold 2x4 LEGO brick. Now you might be thinking, surely a gold LEGO brick like this would have been a huge hit with fans across the world. So why is it hard to come across? Well, the 14 karat gold LEGO brick was never actually sold to the general public. Instead, these were handed out to LEGO employees that had been at the company for at least 25 years, which at the time was a pretty large portion of the company. As a result of this LEGO piece has become the most expensive LEGO brick in the world. With only very few of them being made, this gold LEGO brick can now sell for anywhere up to $20,000. But this price tag makes a lot of sense since the brick was super hard to make and expensive too, and from one golden item to another. Up next, we have everyone's favorite golden suited minifigure. Mr. Gold truly needs no introduction. This rare minifigure was a part of the Series 10 minifigure surprise bags back in the year 2013 and instantly became one of the most sought after minifigures in the world. As a result of the extreme rarity and high price tag, Mr. Gold became one of the most faked LEGO items in history.
Oh man, just seeing this guy.
So much so that now finding one of these real Mr. Golds can be extremely difficult, and it only adds the rarity to the minifigure. Getting your hands on a Mr. Gold nowadays would set you back anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000. But so far, all of these LEGO items' rarity make a lot of sense. This next item definitely does not. When you think of valuable LEGO items from LEGO Star Wars, you may look at items like White Boba Fett, or even some of the older LEGO Star Wars sets. But I bet you would not expect one of the rarest items from LEGO Star Wars to be a windscreen? Well, that is exactly what our next rare LEGO item is, a curved windscreen. The windscreen only ever appeared in a single set, being LEGO Star Wars 75060 Slave 1. The windscreen being the most expensive part of this set really makes no sense. However, this was a part of the LEGO Star Wars Ultimate Collector series, meaning that the set had some scarcity to it. Nowadays, getting your hands on this little curved piece of plastic will cost you $200. Really? For a piece of plastic? But you know what's way worse than spending $200 on a piece of plastic? Spending $200 on a small piece of fabric. Lando Calrissian is a fan favorite Star Wars and LEGO Star Wars character, and was the first instance of a LEGO minifigure having the likeness of a real person. And one of the most expensive LEGO Star Wars sets ever, the Star Wars Cloud City set, you were able to get this Lando Calrissian with a cape and all. And it is this very cape that you can now get for $200. This cape's cloth allowed for much greater movement and flexibility with the plastic capes at the time, and changed the way LEGO made capes going forward. This is why the piece has has become as sought after as this. That and its unique color scheme. But is it worth 200 bucks? Probably not. And to be fair, Lego Star Wars pieces are always going to be some of the most expensive Lego items ever. But sometimes it's the pieces that you don't expect to be so rare that become one of the rarest Lego items. This is what I think happened with the Lego dish. The 6x6 radar Lego piece from the Lego Star Wars set Vader's TIE Fighter. Now to the untrained eye, you may even miss this next Lego item, but it's actually the dish on top of the TIE Fighter that has become one of the most valuable pieces out of the Lego Star Wars series. Since this dish only appeared in the one Lego Star Wars set, it has become really quite valuable, with it nowadays costing around $160 just to get a circular Lego piece. Not worth it if you ask me. Okay, that is enough about Lego Star Wars. Instead, let's look at one of Lego's less popular IPs, Lego Bionicle. Now, Lego Bionicle was of course popular, and actually its popularity is a large reason why the discontinuing of this set was just so controversial. I mean, the Bionicle set even had a movie. I am serious. Lego Bionicle had a movie and had some tie-in sets to the movie. This is where our next rare Lego item comes from, since there was one set that contained an adversary from the movie which had an awesome looking mask. This is the Bionicle Mask Crack-On Movie Edition. From the Lego Bionicle set, Lego Bionicle 10201, Taku Tanuva. In the movie, this mask is worn by the big baddie Makuta, and as such, the set was released as a set based on the movie. Unfortunately though, the movie did not perform exceptionally well. It was fine, but not as well as Lego hoped for, and as such, the set faded away into irrelevancy. Eventually, Bionicle was discontinued, and the mini sets and pieces became way more expensive. With these sets nowadays being worth a lot of money, this mask in particular nowadays can sell from anywhere between $120 to $150 for literally just one piece of plastic. And this is not the only Lego Bionicle item on our list, as up next we have the Galley Mask 1. This item, believe it or not, came out in 2015, 5 years after the discontinuation of Bionicle. But then why was this released? Well, the item was actually given out to attendees of the 2015 Lego Inside Tour, an exclusive and in-demand event that gave people a 3-day tour into the world of Lego. The tour was extremely exclusive, having a high price tag and very few slots. This Galley Mask was one of the items given out to attendees of the Lego Inside Tour. Bionicles was discontinued because it strayed a bit too much from what conventional Lego is nowadays and how it's viewed as, with weird connections that were not quite as detailed as Technic, but not simple enough for regular Lego sets. And weird connections actually is a reoccurring theme with this next Lego item. A beautiful light blue dolphin? Yeah, that's right. Does anyone here remember Lego Scala? No? Well, it was basically a Lego Friends before Lego Friends existed.
Lego Scala, new adventure of the Scala family.
Intended to be a type of Lego aimed towards young girls, Lego Scala was going to be Lego's next biggest hit after Duplo, Technic, and of course Lego. And one of these sets was the Lego Scala 3117 Flashy Pool. Now this set is by no means an interesting set, but it does include one of the rarest Lego items ever. This Lego dolphin. But why is this Lego dolphin so hard to come across? Well, the marine mammal was only found in this one set and has a bit of a weird connection at the bottom. You see, this Lego dolphin was a very awkward size. The hole is too narrow to accept 2 studs that would normally be used for a connection, and it was also too small for a Technic axle. As such, this is one of the only pieces of Lego in existence to have a connection that strays from Lego's design principles, only adding to its value. Nowadays, purchasing this dolphin would set you back about 120 bucks, and that's if you can even find one, since they are that rare. And from one animal to another, we had this Lego goat, released in 2011 as part of the Lego Mill Village raid. This goat is the most unique Lego goat ever made, and some might even say I'm the goat. See what I did there? After first appearing in 2011, the goat with dark tanned horns and medium nougat spots are never seen again. Lego did release some similar looking goats, however they were part of Duplo as opposed to Lego, meaning that Lego took the design from one of their Lego sets and adapted it to Duplo, meaning we may never see a goat like this in a Lego set ever again. And this is largely why the price is surprisingly high, with this goat selling nowadays for 120 bucks, which if you ask me is ridiculous. But now let's move on from animals to instead a Lego item that really has no reason to be as expensive as it is. Back in the late 80s and early 90s, the Lego monorail system was booming and becoming very popular, but then suddenly they just vanished. Nobody really knows why the theme just stopped being produced, and with its retirement, there was one particular piece that became very popular: the monorail motor cover. This piece is a small plastic piece used to protect a motor on the Lego monorail train set, but the weirdest part about it is that it appeared in a set that was connected to the monorail, despite being such an important piece for the theme. The monorail motor cover however, only appeared in the Lego Town Airport shuttle set, which has long since been retired, making this piece nowadays worth about 75 bucks. Now, all these pieces are actually kind of small and kind of boring, but I have a question for you to help that. Does anyone remember Lego base plates? Lego base plates have become a bit of an enigma. Lego base plates have somewhat vanished. Lots of older sets used to be released with them all the time, particularly those of buildings, but nowadays they have become a little harder to find. At least base plates like this next rare Lego item. The raised 32x32 Canyon base plate is one of the most detailed and elusive base plates to ever be made, featuring a raised mountainous area as part of the Dark Forest Fortress set. Besides only ever appearing in one set, the main reason this item is so rare and so expensive is because of this raised terrain, making it a favorite for Lego builders around the world. The cannon is a must-have, and nowadays you can if you are lucky enough to get one for 77 bucks, but they're still very hard to find. The only sets I really see having base plates nowadays are the modular builds, and sometimes even these sets can have some incredibly high-priced Lego pieces. But one that really makes no sense is the right shop door from the first few modular builds. This price tag on this first ever modular build is super high, and as such, almost every price in the sets has a pretty high price tag with it nowadays. But the right shop door really should not. This particular door opens to the right, and with it only appearing in 6 sets, the door nowadays resells for 50 bucks. Really? For a door? But you know what they say, when one door closes, another one opens. Now for the Americans out there, you may have zero idea what this set is actually based on. In 2004, comedy geniuses Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and massively successful director Edgar Wright came together to make a movie that parodied just about every zombies movie that had ever been released. The movie was massively successful, and so fans all around the world wanted to see Shaun of the Dead and Lego. And one person on Lego Ideas actually decided to submit their take on Shaun of the Dead Lego set. Unfortunately though, much like every set on today's list, Lego decided to ignore this set, which is such a shame. Now, Shaun of the Dead is certainly more of an adult-themed Lego set, so what about a Lego set based on an iconic childhood cartoon? This is the Gravity Falls Mystery Shack, an idea from user For the Birds. Gravity Falls was an amazing cartoon when it came out, and has influenced countless other cartoons like Rick and Morty to Netflix's Inside Job. The cartoon was, and still, super successful, and so fans wanted to have a Lego set added to the Gravity Falls lineup, and none other than the Mystery Shack, which is what the fans really wanted. However, due to licensing issues, Lego were unable to make this an official set. Yet. One day, Lego, one day. If I asked you what the most memed car in the world was, you would probably say the Tesla Cybertruck. From a horrendous reveal where Elon Musk shattered an unshatterable window to its weird design, the Cybertruck has become infamous and is potentially the weirdest car ever made. However, some fans actually love this design, and Lego Ideas user BrickedUp decided to create a Lego Ideas submission of the Cybertruck. And to be fair, I think this could have been better. This set is not bad, but it feels a little too Lego. This was of course rejected by Lego as a Tesla license would be super expensive. Lego does, however, license a lot of franchises, such as this next failed Lego item, based around a super popular Disney movie. This is the Lego Ratatouille Lego idea from user Brick Project. Lego and Disney have worked together for years on various Lego sets such as Toy Story or even Cars, and it is certainly not impossible for Lego to make a Lego Ratatouille set. Unfortunately though, despite hitting 10,000 supporters, Lego rejected the idea. Lego has a lot of successful themes, but none quite as popular as the modular builds. These buildings all feature various buildings from jazz clubs to museums and are really popular amongst collectors. And so I was surprised to find out that a lot of these people submit modular builds to Lego Ideas that actually get rejected, such as this Bricks and Blooms Lego idea from Brick 1980. This Lego idea was rejected by Lego despite it being the perfect addition to the modular builds. However, maybe one day Lego will make a modular build just like this one. Who doesn't love music? One of my favorite bands of all time is Gorillaz. Their edgy take on rock music makes it a really enjoyable time, and one Gorillaz fan decided to recreate one of their most iconic music videos entirely from Lego. And what makes it even better is that it really had a clever name. Legorillaz was a set designed by Yop1172 and would have featured the car from their album Gorillaz, as well as other cover art such as a plastic beach and more. The set was really cool, but unfortunately it featured various floating islands which are basically impossible to build out of Lego, so the idea was rejected. Everyone everywhere has heard of Naruto, one of the most successful animes ever made. Naruto has something for everyone, and my favorite part of Naruto has got to be how much he loves ramen.
At the end of the day, anything tastes delicious when you're hungry.
Naruto.
I love ramen, and if this next Lego idea set has ever been made, I would buy 100 of them. This is the Lego Naruto Ramen Chop, featuring one of the many shots from the Naruto universe. This set is super detailed and does an amazing job at capturing the magic of Naruto. Unfortunately though, due to the issues with licensing in this Lego set, it was never made. If I were to ask you what the most successful video games of the 2020s were, you would probably say games like Fortnite, Lethal Company, Power World, and of course, Among Us. And some Among Us fans felt that the skilled map would have been so easy to turn into Lego. In fact, one fan proved this when they created the Among Us skeleton Lego. From user VaderFan2187, we see potentially the best recreation of Among Us in Lego. Unfortunately though, Lego did not understand the Among Us hype, and so this set was never made. Here's another one for the British fans. This is Lego Wallace and Gromit from user Tom Girardin. This set is based all on Wallace and Gromit's various adventures such as the Wrong Trousers, Shaun the Sheep, and their adventure to the moon for cheese. The set features something from every Wallace and Gromit classic and would have been a really great addition to the roster of Lego products. Unfortunately though, Lego did not feel the same way. GameStop, a company that came back from the brink of death thanks to Reddit. The store became famous in the 2020s thanks to their miraculous recovery, and to celebrate this, some fans felt that it would be good to forever memorialize GameStop in Lego form, such as Lego Ideas user Michelin, who created this Lego classic GameStop. It looks really cool, but unfortunately was likely rejected due to this vandal who is graffitiing the side of the building. It is no secret that our planet is slowly dying. I won't get political here, but there's some things people can do to prevent this from happening. And one fan decided to go one step further and create a Lego set that celebrates one of the most beautiful things in nature, coral reefs. This is the Lego Great Coral Reef, a set from user Chris Kelvin that was meant to celebrate nature's architects. Unfortunately though, even just looking at this set, it seems really complicated, so I think I get why Lego rejected this one. When you think of animation companies that are huge, you would instantly think of Disney, DreamWorks, and maybe even Warner Bros. Unfortunately though, most people forget all about Studio Ghibli. Studio Ghibli brought a different take to animation and prioritized quality and story over speed, unlike most other animation companies in the world, and truly created some of the most beautiful stories and animations ever. And this Lego set from user Yop1172 features various scenes from the very iconic movies. You have Chihiro from Spirited Away, Howl and Sophie from Howl's Moving Castle, and Mei and Totoro from My Neighbor Totoro, and the Castle in the Sky from, well, Castle in the Sky. This set would have been amazing to bring fans new and old to Studio Ghibli, and is actually a really good Lego idea. Unfortunately though, Lego again, due to licensing, this Lego idea was rejected. Lego is pretty strict when it comes to building Lego ideas, and one thing that they are very strict on is every idea has to be one build. Unfortunately though, user Pecco did not get the message as they proposed a mini shop series of Lego builds. The idea contained 4 shops of Apple, 7-Eleven, McDonald's, and Starbucks, and unfortunately due to it containing 4 separate builds, it was rejected. And another restriction Lego puts in place is the size of these ideas. Unfortunately for user TJ Spencer 1, he just cannot get his Lego idea down to size. This is the Lego Natural History Museum, a set that was shrunk down to contain 2,700 pieces, and yes, that is shrunk down to size. This Lego idea was super popular and fans really wanted to see it turn into a Lego set, but unfortunately the size of the product was unavoidable, and in the end Lego rejected the idea. If there is one movie out there that hits my feelings every time, it is The Iron Giant. I literally cannot watch this movie without getting emotional, and this movie clearly hit this way with other fans as some people wanted to see the Iron Giant transformed into Lego, such as Lego idea user BrickedUp, who made a really good Iron Giant from Lego. Unfortunately though, the size and scale of the Iron Giant compared to the minifigure meant it looked a little bit wrong, and would likely struggle to stand up straight. As a result, Lego rejected this awesome idea. This next Lego idea was rejected by Lego at first. This is the Lego idea Stitch built from Lego users Legoholic. The set would have featured a movable and posable Stitch and was immediately a huge hit with Lego fans. Recently though, Lego did actually release a larger Stitch model, and I think some credit should go to Legoholic for this one. Before Lego released Lego The Office, this was one of, if not the most asked for Lego set on Lego Ideas. Fans of the NBC sitcom were desperate to see Dunder Mifflin in Lego form, and there have been a few submissions of The Office that hit 10,000 supporters. First, this is user TheOffice_Lego submission, then there is JJ The Office Guy submission, and then finally we have another submission from JJ The Office Guy. Damn, this guy really wanted a Lego set based on The Office. I love Christmas. I mean, who doesn't? Presents, good food, and of course horror movies. Wait, hang on. That's Halloween, right? Well, not entirely. There was one horror movie that was a huge hit with fans based all around Christmas. None other than The Gremlins. The Gremlins was a huge hit when it first came out and showed people that horror movies could have themes from different holidays as well. And one fan loved this movie so much they wanted to recreate it in Lego. This is the Lego Gremlins from user Bulldozer. That looks awesome. Alright guys, who doesn't love dogs? Dog lovers everywhere have wanted better dogs to appear in LEGO for years, and some fans even decided to design these dogs themselves, such as LEGO's idea user Lego Truman, who created this in symbol of various dog breeds including corgis, German shepherds, and more. Although this set was eventually rejected by LEGO, it is a pretty simple build that you could probably recreate pretty easily yourself. We have spoken today about The Office, one of the most influential comedy shows ever. However, we have yet another comedy show for our next entry. This is LEGO Community Greendale Community College, a set yet again by Bulldozer that features the study lounge from Community as well as its wacky assortment of unlikely friends. This set is so cool. The thing I love most about LEGO Ideas is how it brings fans together to make a huge variety of sets inspired by different cultures, media, and countries around the world. And one of my favorites is this LEGO idea from user DDBDR, featuring the ancient Inca city of Machu Picchu. This set is incredibly detailed and shows what the ancient city would have looked like, as well as what each building is. However, it was likely rejected due to the size being a little bit too small and detailed. If you have ever been to Leicester Square in London, you would recognize the M&M store and LEGO store. They had a little bit of an unspoken rivalry, as they were two of the most popular stores for tourists all around London, and one fan decided for their LEGO idea to combine the two. This is the LEGO M&M chocolate dispenser. The set would be compatible with different colors of M&Ms and would have let you dispense M&Ms using LEGO. Unfortunately though, this is kinda gross, and so the idea was rejected. You have Princess Leia from the popular Star Wars movies. But I know what you're thinking. Star Wars already has so many LEGO collabs and sets with the popular female character in them. Well, that's until you bring up this very inappropriate version of her that is featured in over 3 different suggestive outfits that honestly shouldn't be seen by kids. Fans even made their own version of this minifigure, hoping that they could be used in sets, but LEGO ultimately removed and rejected any of these Leia minifigures with inappropriate outfits. But let me know if you guys find any of these, because I know someone who'd love to play with them. Yeah, that's me. Anyways, if you're anything like me, you love playing video games. But what if I told you that you could build your own console with LEGO? Yeah, because this YouTuber who goes by the name of Brick Machines created the world's first working LEGO game console just by himself. He used tons of traditional LEGO pieces and Technic parts to create this mechanism and buttons for the console to run on. Even though I'd love to play Fortnite on one of these things, sadly the idea is way too complicated for the LEGO designers to make, which means this LEGO idea was ultimately rejected. Man, that sucks. While we were talking about games, we gotta mention one of the most popular ones, Minecraft. LEGO and Minecraft have collabed on many awesome sets over the years that feature tons of cool items from the game. But one super popular thing LEGO and Minecraft don't have is a Herobrine minifigure. The weird Steve stalking creature was an actual LEGO idea that was gonna eventually happen because of how iconic the mob is. However, the reason they didn't fall through with this is because Herobrine wasn't an actual mob in the game files. And I don't know why they think this isn't a real mob, because 8-year-old me was throwing hands at my TV when I saw this thing in my world. But this unfortunately made this set idea get rejected by LEGO. So like this video now, Herobrine will be staring at you while you sleep. Anyways, this is the tallest LEGO tower in the world that could literally be taller than an average skyscraper. It stands at an astounding 118 feet tall. If you think that was crazy, wait till you hear that it took over a year to make. But not only that, the tower takes over 500,000 LEGO bricks to make. The best part about this giant LEGO skyscraper is the fact that it was made by a city in honor of an 8-year-old cancer patient named Omar, and the town donated tons of LEGO bricks for the tower to be built in order to honor the kid, which makes this LEGO build super wholesome. But of course, no one is able to casually build a 500,000 piece LEGO set at home, so the idea was rejected by LEGO. This is a LEGO middle finger that is clearly not made for kids. But this originally was a LEGO idea that was a remake of the thumbs up hand that you can find on your minifigures. Well, that was until someone 3D printed this and made this cursed LEGO item come to life, making the scale of it 10 times larger and adding more fine details to it. I don't know what's worse, getting clicked off in person or by a LEGO hand. I mean, if someone threw this up at me, I'd probably throw hands. But since this cursed design is obviously very inappropriate with LEGO and its audience, the idea of this thing was thrown out the window. This next item might be the most cursed and creepy LEGO item known to existence. This is a realistic LEGO head. Yeah, a helmet that you can wear that resembles an actual minifigure. But this is 10 times more scarier than your normal Lego men. The worst part about this is that you can wear it on your head, making you a walking minifigure. But just to make matters worse, there's YouTubers who are recreating and sculpting the freaky Lego item everywhere by literally 3D printing or using clay to create this monster.
My name is Jeff.
So subscriber, this cursed Lego head will be in your room tonight. Anyways, there's tons of Lego items that we will never see because they never made it out of the group chat. But the Lego employee that rejected this item should be fired immediately, because this is Lego Anatomy, a Lego set that features an upscaled minifigure that splits into two, revealing this giant skeleton, which is the inside of the minifigure's body as well as its organs. And while this set is really cool looking, it's also super good to teach kids with. I mean, if my science teacher brought this out, I probably wouldn't have failed my final exams. This Lego idea was actually so popular that it had articles written about it and even was featured at Legoland, making it really weird as to why they would reject such a popular Lego item anyways. But the reason they actually put a stop on this educational masterpiece is because we are pretty much just examining, well, you know, an inside of a human, which doesn't feel right considering the average Lego consumer being young. Stranger Things might be one of the most popular Netflix series of all time, so because of its popularity, Lego actually did a collab with them. And this Stranger Things Lego set that features the Upside Down, which is the land before the real world in the show. One of the most popular things in that series is the Demogorgon, who is this weird creepy looking figure, which they introduced in this Lego set. A Lego minifigure which is at least twice as scary than any other normal figure you can possibly find, which is probably why the Lego Stranger Things series got discontinued, making this the only Lego Stranger Things collab we will ever see. Lego did a collaboration with Nestle. Yeah, the company known for their chocolate milk and the silly rabbit mascot of the brand who goes by the name of Quickie, which they specifically took and turned him into a minifigure. And while it looks good at first, the magic doesn't happen until you take the bunny ears off. And then you're left with this weird face that honestly could have been the star of a kid's worst nightmare. However, the reason this minifig head is designed the way it is was because they needed to make the eyes match up with the bunny head in order to make the most accurate Quickie minifigure. And because this item was so cursed, it has been rejected. Who doesn't like candy? And if you're that weird one in the comment who doesn't, I'll be praying for you. But when you combine candy and Lego, you're left with this M&M and Lego collaboration, which is a fully working M&M Lego dispenser that when you click the button, your favorite color will come out of it. I mean, I'd be pressing these buttons all day, but since they can't include candy in sets at the store, Lego had to reject the idea because of it being too difficult to execute. Another rejected Lego set is the cartoon classic Adventure Time. Seriously, Lego, out of all the cursed collaborations you've done, why not Adventure Time? The bizarre themes and cool aesthetic the world of Adventure Time has would create some of the company's best Lego sets. Fans even made a survey that collected over 10,000 people wanting Lego to collab with the cartoon. So what actually caused this to be rejected? Well, there's technically already a few character blocks that they released, but we figures from the show and not a full-blown set. Take the L, Lego. This Lego set was discontinued after no one played with it. The Lego Fabuland sets featured these weird animal-like minifigures that were honestly pretty creepy. But the real problem was how basic this set was, because kids would find almost impossible to play with these Lego sets, making them useless and just not fun at all. So Lego decided to ban and take Fabuland to the gulag, rejecting the series once and for all. Next, we have the Lego series that got rejected because it was too creepy for kids. Lego Mixels were very obviously hated due to the cursed imaging and set designs for all the different monster variations. The ads for them were even creepier, having the Mixels literally chomping on items that look like a kid's worst nightmare. Despite the sets being very successful with the fans, people at Lego decided to discontinue it, putting an end to Lego Mixels forever. Last but not least is the Lego Among Us figures, which are some of the most weird and sus designed Lego characters on the market. And while Among Us was one of the most popular games in the world, Lego wasn't the biggest fan of releasing these to the public. So despite the huge popularity for the game worldwide, Lego put a ban on producing any sus Among Us figures to the public. This Lego set based all the way back in 1985. This is the Lego 106 UNICEF van. Released all the way back in the 80s, this UNICEF van was exclusive to the Lego Lego club in Canada. This set contained a 54-piece blue UNICEF van as well as a tie-in minifigure. Lego worked with UNICEF for the United Nations Children's Fund to create the Lego set to raise some money for UNICEF's work with kids all around the globe. The set is actually quite cool when you think about it like that. Unfortunately though, due to scalpers all around the world, if you wanted to get this set brand new, it was going to cost you over $10,000. That's just insane. However, I can understand that for a Lego set that is almost 40 years old. One thing I really don't understand is this next Lego set that came out this year and is already worth over 9,000 bucks. This is the Lego Vault Memory Lane. Every year Lego hosts a Lego Inside Tour. This is basically for super fans of Lego who want to go down to Billund, Denmark and tour the Billund campus. Every year Lego creates an exclusive set for the members of this Inside Tour, and this year it just happened to be the Vault Memory Lane. This set itself comes with 8 minifigures as well, and even these minifigures are quite expensive at the moment. However, given that there are very few sets that are actually selling online, the price is a little bit weird and could go down. However, this is one Lego set where the price may never come back down. This is the Lego 3752 Castle. For a lot of the 20th century, Lego struggled to get into stores all across America. Because almost every set was being created in Denmark at this point, the cost of shipping these sets to America was super high. And that has meant that some Lego sets were only released in Europe, Australia, and other countries where it was a bit cheaper to get Lego into. Such as the 3752 Castle, which was released solely in Europe, Australia, and very limitedly in Canada. Once again, Canada is getting exclusive Lego. The set itself was the very first castle that Lego ever created and kicked off their golden age where they really went in on the castle theme. And getting this Lego set into your collection nowadays would cost you about $8,000. Most Lego sets around this time have all become quite expensive, and they rarely get re-released today. However, this next Lego set was actually one of the few to get a re-release. This is the Lego Enchanted Island. Originally released in 1994, this set contains a tropical island with several structures and a large statue of what looks like some kind of Aztec god. The set was a part of the Pirates theme and came with 7 minifigures of pirates and islanders alike. This set was a pretty big hit with fans, and for almost a decade, fans were desperately wanting Lego to re-release the set, and so they did. In 2001, the set was re-released with a different set number, but the exact same build. Fans were able to get a hold of it and add it to their collection. This was all at a time when Lego was losing money rapidly, and sets like this helped them to keep afloat. And Lego were trying just about everything to rescue their company. Unfortunately though, most of the sets released at this time were not very popular with fans. Such as our next Lego set, Set 6490 Lego Outback Amazon Crossing. Lego Town was a pretty popular theme back in the late 20th century, and so to appeal to more people across the globe, they started to release sets based on different countries around the world. One of these countries was of course Australia, and you would think with a name like Outback, it would be talking about the world famous Australian Outback, right? Well, not exactly. This Lego set is actually set in South America, but features a crocodile which doesn't live in the Amazon rainforest. That set is pretty confusing if you think about it too hard, so let's just admit it is a cool set and move on. Now, for all of my British fans out there, this one's for you. This is the Lego 3409 Championship Challenge. One of my friends was surprised when I showed him this set because he said it was similar to a game he had growing up called Subatow. Basically, you build the set and you can actually play soccer with him. The thing I personally find interesting about this set is that it actually had 2 versions. There was the original 3509 Championship Challenge, and then there was an extra called the Shoot and Score Zidane Edition, which had a box that you could take with you wherever that would turn into a goal with a keeper and a penalty taker. These sets are not really for me, but hey, soccer fans everywhere go nuts. For the last 200 years, every 5 or so years, a French organization puts on something known as the World Fair. Basically, this is an event to celebrate the world and various inventions, creations, and future goals for various countries around the globe. And in 1962, the host of the World's Fair was none other than America. The expo was called Man in the Space Age and was meant to celebrate the world's ongoing work to get more people into space. To celebrate the expo coming to America, around the same time that Lego were trying to come to America, they made an exclusive Lego set for the World Expo. This is the Lego 3962 World Fair promo. It is a small set featuring a house, and it may seem quite minimal, but the thing that people loved about this set was that it celebrated Lego finally coming to America, and as such, it has become one of the rarest Lego sets out there now. We spoke earlier in the video about the town theme, and to be honest, it was pretty broad. It contained so many random sub-themes, and one that even I had never heard of was the extreme Extreme Team. This was a set released in the late 90s to try and cash in on the weird trend that everything had become extreme, whether those be TV shows, skateboarding, or other cool things from the 90s. And one of my favorites is the Extreme Team Challenge. This set featured various minifigures working together to climb up a mountain. When you look at this set, it immediately looks super cool. However, I've been staring at this image for about 5 minutes now, and I have to say, what on earth is going on? Why are we driving over a rope bridge? Why is this dude rowing a life raft down the mountains? And surely this zipline is not safe if he's going down the mountain. Okay, my brain hurts. Let's move on. Now, this next LEGO set is so rare that I cannot even tell you what the set came from. These are the LEGO Modulex figures. Back in the 60s, LEGO were trying to figure out how to separate kids and adults between LEGO sets. So they decided to create the Modulex brand, a LEGO brand that was originally compatible with LEGO before they changed it to its own company. Modulex is technically LEGO, but because it cannot be combined with LEGO, people argue online whether it is truly LEGO or not. One part of these Modulex sets were these weird minifigures. They do not look like normal minifigures and have been so horrendously documented online, and finding out any information about them is actually impossible. And I tried for hours. We have spoken about a lot of weird LEGO sets today, but this next one may be the weirdest. This is the 8316 LEGO Galador Keck Power Riser. If you are a longtime fan of this channel, you would know that we have spoken about Galador before on this channel and how it was a weird and short theme released by LEGO that contained action figures. Yeah, LEGO decided to remove what made them so popular, the building, and instead they decided to create toys. This was around the time that action figures were everywhere and people were just making them. Unfortunately though, the last thing LEGO fans wanted was for them to jump on the cash cow and make these honestly terrible action figures. Galandor was not received well by fans, and so this theme was discontinued very quickly. This has actually made some of the sets quite expensive to collectors nowadays. LEGO, despite making all their toys from plastic, does try to reuse certain pieces and parts across various sets to try and at least cut back on their carbon footprint. And I believe that this led to the creation of this next weird LEGO set. This is the LEGO 6493 Flying Time Vessel, a time-traveling boat, I guess? If you look at this set closer, you can see various pieces that appeared across other sets, such as the boat that was used in a lot of LEGO City sets, as well as various weird small pieces that seem to have just been added for the sake of being added. It is actually quite a smart way to use leftover LEGO. LEGO Technic is kind of complicated. I cannot wrap my hand around these sets as a kid, and even now as an adult, they really confuse me. However, one of the weirdest LEGO sets is the LEGO Technic Control Center 2. This LEGO set came out in 1995 when all the rage was about remote-controlled cars, helicopters, and other toys. And so LEGO decided to make this LEGO Technic set that comes with a whopping 1,079 pieces. The thing I find weird about this set is the 3 things that you can build. You can build a helicopter, or maybe a speedboat, and then a dinosaur? For some reason, that's very weird, and it makes no sense. I won't beat around the bush too much, but we've already talked about how LEGO in the early 2000s were doing anything they could to survive their massive financial issues. They were losing money so fast, and they would have gone bankrupt had they not switched things up in 2005. However, the official LEGO products around this time nowadays are super rare, and looking back, they are also pretty weird, such as this LEGO 4394 Dolphin Clock. And yes, this is an actual LEGO set. This clock came out in 2000 and contains a clock as well as a couple small pieces. This set is not that expensive nowadays, but weirdly, the dolphin piece can actually sell for around $100. When you think of LEGO brand partnerships, you would think of companies like McLaren, Shell, Lamborghini, and other massively successful brand partnerships. But did you know that LEGO actually collaborated with McDonald's in the past? This is the LEGO 3438 McDonald's restaurant. Released in 1999 as an exclusive set to the USA, this set has gone on to be really sought after. In the 20th century, both LEGO and McDonald's were some of the most successful companies, and it was only a matter of time before they worked together to create a LEGO set. Unfortunately though, the set was not particularly popular with some fans, not even knowing this was an actual thing. But this is a must-have to anyone who loves both McDonald's and LEGO. As a matter of fact, let me add that to my cart. Wherever you are in the world nowadays, almost everyone can purchase this same LEGO set. But did you know that this was not always the case? Back in the late 70s to early 80s, it was quite common for LEGO sets to be released at different dates in different countries, sometimes even years apart. This is what happened with the 1592 LEGO Town Square Castle scene. The set was released across most of Europe in 1970, however, Dutch versions of the set were released 3 years later. Either due to the later release or just manufacturing issues, the Dutch version of this build actually contained different minifigures to the other released version. This means that these two identical LEGO sets are technically different sets, and that is wild. Early in the video, we talked about the LEGO Technic Control Center and that it was pretty weird. But did you know that LEGO actually did something else to jump on the remote control car trend? In 1998, LEGO released the Radio Control Racer LEGO set, a set that literally just included a remote controlled baseplate. With this, you could build whatever type of car you wanted, whether that be a sports car, Formula 1 car, or even the Krabby Patty car. This set was not marketed particularly well, and as such, the price of it is now $200 to $250, which honestly is not bad for a piece of LEGO history. It just may not be as functional as it once was. LEGO is pretty good at making sets that make sense. However, there is one LEGO set that I do not think I have ever even thought of. This is the LEGO firefighting boat. My question with this set is why? Surely the ocean is the last place a firefighter would need to be. Even if a boat was on fire, surely that is what the Coast Guard is for. This set probably makes sense and I am being dumb, but in my opinion, a firefighting boat makes zero sense. Back in 2019, LEGO were producing countless fan favorite themes. Things like Star Wars, Harry Potter, LEGO Creator, and idea sets. They were making a lot of amazing sets. However, there was one theme that they were making around this time that I personally find quite weird. This is the LEGO Forma theme, and this was kind of a Technic theme and kind of not. You see, this theme contained a koi fish that could be controlled and moved to make it look as though it was swimming. This alone is really cool, but they also created what they call skins for this set. You had the Splash Koi skin, the Ink Koi skin, and a Shark skin. These are actually kind of cool. The LEGO Scala series popped up briefly between 1979 and 1980, featuring cool jewelry sets with interchangeable decoration. Then in 1997, LEGO launched another girl-focused series alongside Belleville. Scala had slightly larger dolls that could wear full outfits, taking inspiration from the ever-popular Barbie dolls. They even redesigned some parts just for Scala. The main themes revolved around dollhouses and accessories, but sadly, Scala struggled to find its place between LEGO Belleville and Mattel's Barbie, leading to its end in 2001. The main reason for its early end is that LEGO Scala didn't look and feel like LEGO. I mean, the whole point of LEGO is the LEGO system, where every piece fits together, but with Scala, it just felt like a rebel against the norm. But one thing that kept Scala linked to LEGO was that it included some LEGO bricks in the playsets, but from 97 to 98, those brick studs were in flower shapes, which made them incompatible with other LEGO sets. But as horrible as the LEGO Scala set already was, they managed to make things worse by releasing the LEGO Scala Summer Day Out set in 1998. This one has a baby in a carriage that looks a little creepy, along with a Dalmatian that seems much larger than the baby. They also come with an umbrella, a teddy bear, and a picnic setup. What really stands out here is the size of the dog and the baby's unusual look. Honestly, I'm pretty sure the baby named Thomas could hop out of that carriage and ride the dog home if he wanted. And the baby's eyes just keep staring at you like he's trying to peek into your soul. It's so weird, and LEGO made a huge mistake onboarding it. But even worse than the LEGO Scala was LEGO Gladiator. You've probably heard of Galador, right? If so, you've probably been told that it was bad, awful, or even not a real construction toy. And well, people aren't wrong. But what made Galador such a flop? After all, it was a construction toy, and those have done pretty well in the past. So let's find out what went wrong. First, let's rewind to 2002, where LEGO wanted to create a toy line with a TV show, kind of like what other companies had been doing for years. So they chose a kids TV show of the same name. The story was about a teenager named Nick Bluetooth and his friend Allegra, who got zapped into an alien dimension. They're tasked with helping a bunch of aliens stop the evil Gorm from taking over the galaxy. Sounds exciting, right? Well, it wasn't. Now, I'm no Galador expert, but after watching 2 episodes, I couldn't handle any more. The show was slow with barely any humor, while something like Ninjago Masters of Spinjitzu kicked off with tons of action and laughs, keeping the fun going. It's a shame the Galador TV show flopped because the basic story wasn't that bad. It had some cool ideas, like Nick finding out his dad might have been in the alien dimension before him and could still be out there somewhere. That's a pretty solid backstory, but the show just wasn't interesting enough to keep kids watching. Similar to the TV show, the LEGO theme bombed so badly that some sets were sold at 90% off. The funny thing is that Galador was actually LEGO's first full TV show for one of their toy themes. It was also their last for a while because LEGO clearly got a bit cautious after the Galador disaster. Now, let's talk about Galador's biggest problem. It really wasn't a building toy. The whole build part was just swapping arms, legs, and heads between the figures. That's it. I mean, how does that compare to other construction themes, you ask? Well, let's take a look at Bionicle in Knight's Kingdom. With Bionicle, you could combine different models into larger, cooler creations, and each part had at least 2 connection points. You could even use Bionicle parts with Technic pieces to build even bigger things, like Makuta or the Exotoa. Galador, on the other hand, only had 1 connection point per part, and those parts only worked with the Galador system. Knight's Kingdom 2 wasn't perfect either. The hands could only be hands, the feet could only be feet, and the figures weren't very customizable. But at least most parts had studs or Technic connectors, so you could use them to build other models. In fact, the basic joint parts from Knight's Kingdom 2 ended up being used to make mechs for years. So while Galador wasn't all bad, it had 2 huge problems: no real building and a boring TV show. If it had used more Lego-like building pieces and added a few jokes into the show, it might have stuck around for a few years. Now, weird and funny Lego sets aren't the only mistakes the company has made over the years. Lego has also tried experimenting with different Lego designs and business ventures to keep the ball rolling. But while some have been a hit, just like Lego Star Wars game franchise, some have also just not gotten there yet. Like the famous Legoland, which is famous for the wrong reasons. If you didn't know, Legoland is a super fun theme park packed with awesome stuff to do. You can shop, find a place to stay, and check out amazing Lego creations while riding on cool Lego themed rides. It all started way back in 1968 in Billund, Denmark, where the Lego headquarters is located. The founder's son showcased some fantastic Lego builds in glass displays outside the factory. And over time, people came to see the Lego masterpieces, making the company open its very first mini theme park. Fast forward to a couple of decades later, and these mini parks have become full-sized resorts found all over the world. From Britain to Germany, the United States, Malaysia, the UAE, Japan, and even South Korea. At some point, Lego theme parks were thought to be the next big thing after Disneyland. But knowing what we know now, it's clear that these Lego parks were overvalued. Legoland has faced several challenges that have significantly impacted its success. While the concept of Lego-themed attractions sounded promising, the execution often fell short. Many parks struggle with attracting enough visitors, leading to disappointing attendance figures. Some parks like Legoland California faced intense competition from larger, more established amusement parks, which offered a wider range of attractions. Additionally, the initial investment in Lego resorts was significant, but the return on investment was slow. Many parks also suffered from operational issues, including high maintenance costs for attractions and facilities. Some locations like Legoland Florida have experienced significant weather-related challenges, affecting their ability to operate year-round. Therefore, the parks often relied heavily on the Lego brand's popularity, but failed to innovate beyond their established offerings. And according to reviews, the experience sometimes feels repetitive, leading to a lack of excitement for returning visitors. As a result, several parks such as Legoland Windsor saw closures or scaled back operations. Multiple articles across the net also give a no-no for anyone considering an experience at Legoland. While some Legoland parks are still active in 2024, this next Lego mistake was sent packing in 2021, the Lego Video app. Now, whether you think this was a mistake or not, the real mistake wasn't the app itself, but the company deciding to cut its development short. Talk about a premature farewell. Launched in January 2021, Lego Video had a rocky start right from day one. The first wave of beatboxes came with just 1 minifigure, a few printed tiles, and some single-use molds for a jaw-dropping $20. It was so pricey that third-party sellers were practically giving them away with a 33% discount. Seeing discounts on launch day is about as rare as finding a unicorn in a Lego set, and yes, that is really rare. This made everyone raise their eyebrows, especially since Lego.com still sold them at full price, making the value look even worse. The 43101 bandmates with their blind box packaging didn't do any better, costing more than regular collectible minifigures. But wait, there's more. The Video app, which is basically the whole point of the theme, was a major flop too. Users quickly took to the app stores, leaving 1- and 2-star reviews that slammed it for being slow and crash happy. Imagine trying to make a music video and your app decides to take a nap. And to top it off, the app kept everything behind its own locked door. You could create awesome music videos, but good luck sharing them with your friends unless they were on the app's super controlled feed. Sure, it kept kids safe, but it also hit so many geniuses from the world. When the second wave of sets came out, they at least offered a more enjoyable building experience. But with the app still underwhelming, it felt like Video's time was already up. It's a total contrast to Lego Hidden Side, which had an augmented reality feature but still managed to get 3 full waves before being shelved by Lego. The big difference? Hidden Side's app added a little spice to everyone's fun builds. while videos seem to rely way too much on digital bells and whistles, leaving its beatboxes and bandmates feeling a bit, well, flat. When you think of the LEGO Group's biggest mistakes, the quality of their bricks probably isn't the first thing that comes to mind. After all, LEGO was famous for its high quality standards, but back in 2010, some sneaky mistakes slipped past quality control, and unfortunately that's when the brittle brick set was being produced, especially the famous brittle brown. Brittle brown is what fans like to call the most famous fragile of the set, though other colors were also victims of the brittleness. These fragile colors stuck around for most of the 2010s, and boy were they sensitive. Just the slightest movement or even a gentle touch, and snap crack boom, the pieces would break. Okay, maybe a bit of exaggeration, but honestly not by much. The dyes used to create these colors made them much more likely to break when connecting them with or pulling them apart from other pieces. And well, connecting and separating LEGO bricks is kind of their whole thing, right? Now, if these pieces only snapped when you treated them roughly or kept them in a super hot place, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. It's normal to expect some wear and tear under extreme conditions, but nope, these bricks had a habit of breaking even when they were in perfect shape, just sitting in official sets or custom models. Even if they were safely stored in cool comfy places, these dark brown and red bricks could still crack. Trying to take a brown plate off a base plate, even with a special brick separator tool, chances are the brown plate would break, and disassembling a set to store it meant saying goodbye to the pieces. Even the beloved LEGO minifigures weren't safe. They're usually together since you don't take them apart as often, but if a minifigure had a brown torso and fell off a shelf onto the floor, it might shatter. This meant that some of LEGO's coolest sets from the 2010s, like the awesome 9474 Helms Deep and the 75059 Sandcrawler, ended up being super fragile. LEGO eventually realized the issue, and to their credit, they fixed it around 2019. They tweaked the dyes used in these fragile colors, making the bricks in newer sets much sturdier. Also, LEGO does offer a service where you can get broken bricks replaced for free. Sounds great, right? Well, there was a small hiccup. If you try to order too many replacement pieces at once, LEGO might cancel your request because they're worried that some people might try to cheat the system and get free bricks. I know, that's a bummer for collectors who have tons of sets full of brittle brown pieces. Replacing them yourself is an option though, but it can get pricey, and some older pieces aren't even made anymore with the new sturdier materials. So those will probably break again in the future, but at least they recognize the problem, right? In the same way, they recognize that they had to catch up with competitors but ended up flopping big time. When LEGO tried to take on its competition with LEGO ZNAP, things didn't go exactly as planned. ZNAP was LEGO's answer to Connects, using hollow parts to build big models quickly. But instead of getting the best of both worlds, ZNAP ended up the worst. Connects was known for creating things you couldn't make with LEGO, but ZNAP, it mostly made things that could have been done better with regular LEGO bricks or Technic parts. ZNAP had a decent variety of pieces, like long and angled beams, tiny connectors, or even giant wheels. But there was one big problem. These pieces weren't very versatile. For example, the largest beams only had 6 ZNAP connection points, and while they had extra Technic connection spots, they were barely used in official sets. Another downside was the color-coded connectors. While Technic pins and axles were also color-coded, you can usually hide them in your build. But this wasn't quite possible with ZNAP. Imagine making a cool red and black race car, only to have purple and gray pieces stick out like a sore thumb. Yikes. And to make things even more frustrating, ZNAP parts didn't fit well into regular LEGO builds because they had only a few Technic connection points, and they weren't evenly spaced. On one hand, most of the sets looked pretty bad, but on the other hand, given the limited pieces, a few were surprisingly okay. Take the Super Constructor set, also called Ant for example. It actually looks like an ant, and when you roll it, the legs move. The colors are mostly red with a yellow belly and black legs. Though you'll still see patches of purple and gray, you could even rebuild it into a bird, a robot, or an attempt at a car. Then there's Jeep, which could have been awesome if the colors were better coordinated. It did try using yellow wheels for headlights and seats. Jeep came with a matching green trailer and a buggy with 2-cylinder engines. You could also turn Jeep into a boat, motorcycle, or, well, something that I can't quite figure out. But not all ZNAP sets were winners. Take Jet Car and Bi-Wing for example. They were pretty uninspired, and the Jet Car only looked like a car because it had 4 wheels. The alternate models, they didn't resemble much of anything, real or imaginary. At the very bottom of the ZNAP barrel, there's one set too weird to have been released, and that's set 3533. It might have been an attempt at a tribute to the classic LEGO duck, but honestly, I'll leave it up to you to decide what it was trying to be. The big issue with ZNAP was that it was too focused too much on small sets with weak designs, instead of really going all in on large models. The kind of thing ZNAP was supposed to be great at, out of the 20 ZNAP sets released, 12 had fewer than 40 pieces. Some of the larger sets could have been motorized to create awesome moving cars, but that rarely happened. There was potential for even bigger builds. Some promotional pictures showed models several feet tall, but getting enough parts for something like that was nearly impossible, as even the biggest ZNAP sets had fewer than 300 pieces. Talk about a missed opportunity. And maybe the only set worse than LEGO ZNAP is the LEGO Technic fiber optic set. The LEGO fiber optic set from 1996 was all about building cool machines that lit up with special cables called fiber optics. That sounds awesome, right? But there was some big problems. The lights weren't as bright as people hoped, and the set was really expensive to make. Plus, the cables were super easy to break, which made building frustrating. People expected a lot more fun, but it just didn't live up to the hype. In fact, it was such a failure that it even made it into a museum of failure. And apart from failing to make good toys that fit the narrative of TV shows, LEGO also failed to make good toys that fit the narrative of some popular games. One example is Minecraft. LEGO Minecraft made its debut in 2013 with a trio of mini sets, including the end. About a year later, they introduced the cooler minifigure scale models. I've never been a fan of those smaller sets, especially when most of the other ones are larger and more detailed. If LEGO does release a mini set, it should be awesome enough to stand on its own, like the fantastic Hogwarts castle. But the end? Yikes. It's a bit of a snooze fest, and not very exciting to look at, and it basically has no play value. Only the most dedicated Minecraft fans might want it, but probably just to finish their collection. But what happens when LEGO tries launching both a theme set and a TV show at the same time? It was once a recipe for success, but was also a recipe for disaster. LEGO Legends of Chima was a theme and TV show that launched in 2013, and while it had some popularity, it ultimately didn't fare well compared to its most successful sibling, Ninjago. One of the biggest complaints was the storyline, which many find confusing and shallow. The premise of these animals battling over chi felt too childish for some fans, even reminiscent of shows on Disney Junior, leading people to lose interest quickly. Some fans pointed out that the writing felt juvenile and that the characters, while visually interesting, lacked depth or compelling arcs. Another issue was that Chima seemed like a forced attempt to replicate the success of Ninjago, but it lacked the same charm and character development. While Ninjago balanced action and humor, Chima struggled to maintain the same excitement, leaving both its TV show and sets underwhelming for many. Some fans did enjoy the unique sets designed and a few of the characters, especially in the later seasons, but by then the initial disappointment had already turned many away from the theme. Another mistake LEGO made was trying to overplease their toddler audience with the LEGO Primo set. LEGO's Duplo line has been a go-to toy for young children since its launch in 1975. Designed for toddlers aged 1 to 5, Duplo bricks are twice the size of regular LEGO pieces, making them easier and safer for small hands to handle. Duplo's goal has always been to introduce kids to the world of building while ensuring safety and fun. The Primo offshoot, introduced in the 1990s, was made for babies even younger than Duplo's target audience. Unlike Duplo bricks, Primo pieces were not compatible with standard LEGO or Duplo bricks. However, the line didn't last, as it was succeeded by LEGO Baby, which eventually phased out by 2005 due to its profitability issues. LEGO found that catering to this niche market for very young children just wasn't sustainable for the long term. But what about LEGO superhero sets? Have they made any mistakes with those? Well, if you didn't already know, LEGO has produced some incredible Marvel sets over the years, featuring highly sought after minifigures. However, the Spider-Man theme in particular has delivered some peculiar and rather childlike sets. For example, Spider-Man has been given some really silly vehicles, including the Monster Truck, Spider Trike, and Techno Trike. One set that stands out is the Vulture's Truck Robbery, which includes a red and blue motorbike for Spider-Man. It's tough to see how a motorbike fits into Spider-Man's web-slinging lifestyle unless it's venturing outside of the skyscrapers of New York City. Unfortunately, this set doesn't redeem itself with its minifigures, which include a standard Spider-Man, a generic truck driver, and rather basic Vulture that closely resembles one released 4 years earlier. It's a forgettable set that doesn't offer much value, especially at $21.50 per piece. And finally, there's this LEGO Joker set. This set also suffers from a build style reminiscent of action figures, which feels completely out of place in the LEGO universe. Its construction features many strange parts with limited reusability, making it one of the priciest sets in the entire DC theme, especially since many pieces pieces are unique to this set, 2 other oversized sets, Batman and Green Lantern, also vie for the title of the worst LEGO DC set, further emphasizing the theme's struggle with these unusual designs. So maybe you agree with me that these are probably LEGO's biggest mistakes of all time. This is the LEGO Bell Boeing, a set based on one of the most recognizable military helicopters in the world. As we said, this LEGO set was literally weeks from being released when suddenly LEGO announced that they would not be releasing it. LEGO has for decades now had a pretty concrete rule that violence should be humoristic and jokey, and as such, they never released any sets based on war, the army, or even actual violence. Which is why some unnecessarily protective parents complained to LEGO when the set was announced, claiming that the LEGO set promoted violence to children. Come on, really? That is like saying the LEGO McLaren promotes driving without a license. This is just stupid. Unfortunately, LEGO did give in to the backlash and this set never hit the shelves. However, our next LEGO set did in fact hit the shelves and forced LEGO to seriously reconsider how they market certain sets. This is the LEGO Star Wars UCS Republic Gunship, a legendary LEGO set depicting one of the most recognizable vehicles from the Star Wars prequels. The Republican gunship is what all of the Jedis flew in on when Anakin, Obi, and Padme were trapped on Geonosis in order to rescue them and thus kick off the beginning of the fall off of the Republic. Sorry, I think I went on a tangent. Anyways, back to LEGO. This set was actually the result of a fan vote, and fans were desperate to see what LEGO minifigures they would get with the set. Some fans were expecting Yoda, Clone Commander Cody, Mace Windu, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and more. However, when the set actually released, fans were really disappointed with the minifigures it came with it only including Mace Windu and a generic clone minifigure. Fans were outraged as they felt that this was LEGO really dropping the ball, especially given with just how many iconic characters appear within this part of the movie. They really could have added in just 1 or 2 more minifigures and fans would have been perfectly happy. The main issue was that LEGO just did not really tell the fans what to expect, and so when the set was announced, people were very unhappy. However, maybe not as unhappy as the Turkish community with this next LEGO Star Wars set. This is Jabba's Palace. Now, if you are a longtime fan of the channel, you might know that we have actually spoken about this set in various other videos, and this is perhaps one of the more controversial LEGO items ever released. So let me give you a brief rundown. When this set was announced, most of the world were actually pretty excited. For a while, fans have been desperate for a set based on Jabba the Hutt's palace, and as such, when it was revealed, everyone was excited. However, there was one community that was not happy, which was the Turkish people. You see, in Star Wars, a lot of inspiration from Tatooine comes from the Middle East. Details from the environment, buildings, and even some of the cultures were pretty common in the Middle East. However, perhaps the worst offender for this was Jabba's palace. Let me show you 2 images. This is the LEGO version of Jabba's palace. This is the movie's version of Jabba's palace. Actually, a pretty good set that looks pretty close to the original. However, now let me show you this Turkish palace known as the Hagia Sophia. I probably butchered that name, but this is it right here. You can see it is very obvious where both LEGO and of course Star Wars pulled the inspiration from the building, and so when this LEGO set was revealed, the Turkish community were outraged and demanded that the set be pulled from shelves, claiming it was insensitive to their religion as the Hagia Sophia is the mosque. As a result, LEGO were forced to retire this set a lot sooner than they expected. If only they were like that with this next band LEGO item that stuck around for years. LEGO is one of the most successful companies in the world and is definitely one of the most successful toy companies. And this is largely thanks to their partnerships with various brands and companies. From LEGO Harry Potter all the way up to LEGO Horizon Forbidden West, they have partnered with countless fan favorite franchises and movies and more. However, their most controversial partnership is definitely their collaboration with Shell Garage. The Shell Garage collaboration was massively successful throughout the 20th century. However, when we went into the 21st century, people began to realize that the oil fracking was actually horrendous for the environment, as well as things like plastic pollution, damaging natural habitats, and other environmental problems. So when they announced that they would be continuing their long-standing collaboration with Shell in the early 2010s, one company had a huge problem: Greenpeace. Now, Greenpeace are of course controversial in their own way to some people, but they did raise a good point that oil drilling is one of the worst things for the environment, and when you are manufacturing plastic toys as well, you are actively creating a partnership that is horrendous. This led Greenpeace to release a parody of the massively well-known Everything is Awesome song from the LEGO movie that features moving shots of oil ruining a LEGO frozen environment. Following the public's backlash, LEGO were forced to finally end their outdated partnership with Shell, which is kind of a shame as the sets were quite cool. However, there is one LEGO set that was actually not that cool. This is the LEGO Indiana Jones Temple of Doom. Of course, a set based on one of the coolest movie scenes ever, where Indiana Jones rides on a minecart through the Temple of Doom. This is pretty cool until you see the horrendous depiction of indigenous people. This is something that played just about every LEGO set that was released as part of LEGO Indiana Jones, which of course drew massive backlash from the cultures these minifigures and sets were meant to represent. And perhaps the worst offender was the Temple of Doom, which was actually quietly banned by LEGO as a result of the immense backlash they faced. Unfortunately for LEGO though, this next LEGO set they could not cover up. This is LEGO Overwatch. This was a planned collaboration between LEGO and Activision Blizzard to celebrate the legacy of Overwatch as they moved into the second game in their massively successful franchise. Fans were extremely excited for these LEGO sets, and just weeks before they were about to release to the public, a huge controversy came out. Activision Blizzard was exposed for some truly horrendous working environments, including sexism, assault, and worse. This is one of the most public and devastating video game expositions ever in history. And as such, LEGO decided to cancel their collaboration with Overwatch and publicly release their statement explaining the cancellation. And I quote, "We are currently reviewing our partnership with Activision Blizzard, given concerns about the progress being made to address continuing allegations regarding workplace culture, especially the treatment of female colleagues, and creating a diverse and inclusive environment. While we complete the review, we will pause the release of LEGO Overwatch 2 product, which was due to go on sale February 1st, 2022. And clearly this internal review from LEGO led to the decision to just cancel the LEGO Overwatch sets. Although some people have been able to get their hands on some of these sets in black markets and auction websites, hopefully someday we'll be able to see LEGO Overwatch sets, especially with the company now being far better. But not every company makes these efforts to be better, such as the next collaboration between LEGO and Marvel, which actually had a pretty sad backstory. The original Spider-Man trilogy was some of the best Spider-Man movies ever, as well as some of the worst. However, for ages the team behind the movie were fighting tooth and nail to make a fourth version of a movie. They were reaching out to producers, actors, writers, and more desperately trying to prove that Marvel would be good in the business venture. However, there was one problem: they could not get a good script. In their massive attempt to prove this movie could make money, they reached out to LEGO to design and set up a collaboration between Spider-Man 4 and LEGO, and it actually seemed to be somewhat a good collaboration. Unfortunately though, as the movie was cancelled, they of course had to ban the LEGO sets, and any and all prototype sets that were unfortunately destroyed. RIP Spider-Man 4. Of course this is not LEGO's fault, but sometimes banned LEGO sets can be their fault. This is the LEGO Zombies theme, a proposed theme that would be based around zombies, as you would expect. The theme was growing quite a bit of popularity online. Unfortunately though, as the popularity and hope for this theme began to grow, so did the angry Karens online who felt that this was a way too inappropriate set for kids. This theme was going to be coming around at the same time as shows like The Walking Dead dominated the TV charts. And given that this theme would have the same zombies in it, parents felt that this was going to be an age-appropriate stuff for children. As a result, LEGO had to go ban their LEGO zombie sets, although some people online do claim that they own a LEGO zombie set, which is very unlikely. Karens always ruin some of the most amazing LEGO themes of all time, but there was one pretty horrendous theme that they actually banned for a pretty good reason. Who remembers the LEGO Lone Ranger theme? No one? Yeah, I don't blame you. The Lone Ranger theme was meant to kick off the next big franchise for Disney, but upon release, well, the movie sucked. It was not a good cowboy movie and was actually one of the biggest flops Disney ever released. Unfortunately though, Disney had big plans for the franchise, and so they partnered up with LEGO around the same time as the movie was due to be released. With a movie that was criticized for the cultural appropriation, bad writing, and pretty disappointing visuals, surely LEGO could save it, right? Right? Wrong. As such, the Karens kicked off, and so LEGO was forced to retire the theme a lot earlier than they ever planned to. But LEGO learned from their mistakes and never released a set like this again. Yeah, just kidding. LEGO seems to always somehow make products that will offend some cultures or groups of people somewhere in the world. One of the biggest mistakes LEGO seems to constantly make is stereotypes for women, such as the various LEGO Friends New Van sets. Now I must admit that these sets usually are nowhere near as bad as the variation that LEGO originally had planned, which has been banned by LEGO. The original sets often get tested against focus groups, and I can imagine that almost every LEGO fan set performs badly, with many women claiming that these sets promote gender stereotypes. When you compare LEGO City to LEGO Friends, you can kind of see why. In LEGO City, male characters are seen in very important jobs such as firefighters, police officers, and more. However, LEGO Friends depicts women in stereotypical female jobs such as journalists, bakers, fashion store owners, etc. This is an issue LEGO has had for years, and they always seem to get it wrong. LEGO had to go back through and change some of these sets just before its release, which led to what we have now. And if any of these were new and shocked you, make sure you hit the like button, comment which section was your favorite, and subscribe.